Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Let's just check this is working before we go ahead with it, inshallah. So I can see two people are viewing right now. Can you just put something in the chat? Because I'm using some new software. Let me see, make sure I can see it without having to go on YouTube, inshallah. Welcome, by the way. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Just in the chat, just say Assalamu alaikum, say where you are in the world. Just type an emoji if you want. Okay, great. Lala, Assalamu alaikum. So that means we're pretty much working. We're on YouTube and I can see the comments here. So that's good. So I think I'll just wait maybe one more minute. Then I can get into it, inshallah. Let me just make sure. Assalamu alaikum, Ahmed. Welcome, welcome. It's great, actually. I can see the comments here in the software from YouTube, so it's all there. Never really done this kind of thing before. Jazakallah khairan, Ahmed. Yeah, just borrowing a software. Try before you buy. And if you know the podcast, you know that I got this new camera and stuff. So alhamdulillah, hope the audio is clear as well. And in about 15 seconds, we can get started. I'm excited, actually. I think it should take about half an hour and we'll have our full Ramadan planned. I mean, I've kind of already planned mine mostly, but I'm just going to put the polishing, finishing touches on it in this session, inshallah. For everyone else, we can work through it in your own time, at your own pace, and we can get to a really good end result, inshallah. So, yes, okay, having said that, let's get started then, inshallah. Let me just share my screen. I got a little, I know actually people don't like this, but I've got a PowerPoint. I've got slides for you, and the slides are not going to be, killer slides, inshallah. They're going to be quite quick and simple and etc. So there we are. Looks like everything's working fine. So let me go over to the slides and we can get started. I'm just going to go through it in this view, actually. Or yeah, it's fine like this. Do it like that, actually. Whatever. So plan your Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wa salatu ala rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa man walah, amma ba'd. Okay, so this session, this video is all about plan your ideal Ramadan with me, take it easy and still get huge reward. So the idea here is, 6-7 years ago, the first time I decided to actually take Ramadan seriously enough to actually plan it out, right? And that's something I feel like a lot of people in the world, they don't do, right? And the first time I planned it out, the first time it kind of, occurred to me to plan a Ramadan in order to actually get success from this, 8% or whatever of the year that is so important deeds-wise. It can really, wipe everything out, of course. It's so important. So we want to take the advantage of it fully. And so 6 or 7 years ago was the first time I actually decided to plan it out. That was my best Ramadan ever at that time, right? So straight away, just by planning in the right way, and I'll show you how to do that, inshallah, we'll have amazing results. But what's even better is like your second Ramadan will be even better than that, inshallah. The third will be even better. It'll be even better in terms of the smoothness of your planning, how much of the habits and the things that you plan you actually do, and inshallah from there you just keep upping the levels, right? So year one you might read, who knows, 5 juz of the Quran in Ramadan, and by year 3, inshallah definitely you'll be reading the whole Quran cover to cover. So it's about starting from one place and just starting with the basics, like actually plan, actually know when you're going to do these ibadat or whatever it is we're planning here today, and then take it from that to like being a rewards machine. Okay, so it all happened with me just trying out that planning thing, and I've done this webinar or this live stream every single year since then. And what that does for me is it makes sure I'm improving myself, because, I can't get on here and kind of be a hypocrite or be fake or lie about the how good this system is, right? No, this system really is good. Okay. So let's get into it then, inshallah. Let me just check the chat. Is there anything there? Yasmin, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Ahmed Khan, how old was I? I was probably 22, 3, something like that. Thanks for the question. Yeah. So let's go into what can Ramadan do for us, okay? Why is it so important, like, that we're actually going to bother to plan for it and prepare for it? Well, obviously, the obvious one we've got there is massive reward, okay? So there are so many ahadith, and maybe that's a good kind of pre-Ramadan thing to do, is to really read those ahadith and the ayat in the Quran about Ramadan to really fully understand what is ahead of us here, right? What the potential is here, right? So generally, we know there's massive reward, but specifically when it comes to those specific rewards, one that comes to mind is, I remember the Prophet ﷺ, he said in a hadith, he said that it's in the last 10 days, that's the time when Allah frees the most people from the hellfire, right? They were going to go in the hellfire, but Allah frees them because of what they do in those last 10 days. So that's just one thing that comes to mind. But of course, there's so much more than that, right? We know, of course, the rewards are multiplied. We know that we're fasting all day, so that's great reward anyway, right? So massive reward, of course, is the obvious reason. But then there are some more nuanced things that I want to share with you, of course. I don't want to come here with some stale, boring stuff that you're going to hear elsewhere. So new 1 RM. What's 1 RM? 1 rep max. So if you go to the gym or you've ever been to the gym, you've got something called a 1 rep max. That is the maximum weight that you can lift if you're only doing 1 rep. Okay, because obviously you get tired if you're doing 5 reps, if you're doing 8 reps, you get tired, so you can only do lower weight. But 1 rep max is if you're only going to do 1 repetition of that exercise, what is the highest weight that you can lift? So your 1 rep max of bench press might be 100 kilos, but if you're doing, 7 reps of that, you might only be able to do 80 kilos. How does that apply to Ramadan? Your Ramadan is your 1 rep max. Your Ramadan is if you're only doing 1 month all out, how high can you go, right? You find the ceiling, inshallah, of how high you can go in terms of your iman, in terms of your ibadah, in terms of your obedience to parents, in terms of your keeping the ties of kinship and how generous you can be. You try and find your ceiling. How far can I go? How far can I push myself? Of course, it's a great time to do that because massive reward, multiplying of rewards, but also, the shayateen, they are chained and the doors of Jannah are open in this month. So that's what's special about Ramadan as well, is we find that ceiling. We try and push ourselves to find what is that maximum. Not so we're going to continue it necessarily. We know that, we understand that, but just so we know the ceiling, and then we get to the third point, which is we find our new minimum as well. We find the new minimum. So when you've gone into your 1 rep max mode, right? You've hit that 100 kilos. You kind of understand like what a high level of ibadah is for you. Then you look down, right? And the lowest point for your ibadah, inshallah, will be lifted as well. Okay, so your ceiling of your ibadah will be lifted, inshallah, but that will bring with it the new minimum, right? The new minimum ibadah that you're going to do. Okay, so imagine you're praying, Taraweeh every single night, and especially if you're praying at home where you're the one pushing yourself, you're the one putting the motivation in. Is the person that does that for a whole month, every single day, they pray their own Taraweeh on their own with their own motivation. Is it realistic, feasible that they're going to then in Shawwal afterwards, after Ramadan, they're going to go to praying only a few times a day, or they're not going to pray their 5 prayers a day? It's unlikely, right? Because that minimum, the lowest point they can reach, has been raised. Okay, so that's the other important thing about Ramadan. And the fourth thing here is you set the standard for the rest of the year. So the way I always think about it is Ramadan is the beginning of the year for me, right? Or the end of Ramadan is the beginning of the year in terms of my goal setting, in terms of my just feeling for the year, right? Even though it's not the new year, Gregorian or Hijri, but that's just how I've come to see it. I think it came from, Ramadan used to be in the summer holidays when I was a student. And so it's like a new year. And that's how I started thinking about it. But anyway, new standard for the year. So you have a good Ramadan, right? And, we always, we refer to the I can't remember where this comes from because I'm not sure if it's a hadith itself, but a sign of an accepted Ramadan is that you continue with good deeds afterwards. So I always think after Ramadan, like, I've got to make sure, okay, I do some level of fasting, I do some level of this and some level of that, because that will be an indication that my Ramadan was accepted. And I put the effort in Ramadan, and the reward and the potential is so much in Ramadan, so let me get that accepted, inshallah. Okay, so this is the reason why it's worth definitely planning, preparing for Ramadan. And it's the first day of Ramadan today. At least that's what I'm following. I'm fasting. It's the first day of Ramadan, so it's not too late. Basically, that's what I want to say. Like, obviously, I kind of already planned, and you should ideally plan before. But I was quite busy with work in the previous few days, so I didn't do this thing before. But that's fine, because we've got the whole month. Alhamdulillah, Allah is generous. Imagine Allah gave us just 7 days of Ramadan, right? But Allah gives us, 29 days, 30 days of Ramadan. So we've got plenty of time. If we put this plan in from tomorrow, it's going to be great, inshallah. Okay, let me just check in the chat, get a little check in with everyone. Okay, I think we can like show little comments coming up. Oh yeah, look at that. That's fancy. Okay, today is day 1. Yes. May Allah give you success in your exams. Put barakah in it. You know what I would try, Ahmed, is try taking dehydration sachets. Those salts, you just mix them with water, drink them. Have that for suhoor. I think you'll be fine exams wise, right? Obviously, you want to also take that kind of advice from a sheikh. Maybe you've done that, but try that out. I actually want to try that myself. I'm not even studying, but it is something I'm interested in those dehydration sachets, because the headaches, the fatigue, a lot of it comes from dehydration. So I'm curious to see if that will help. Okay, let's move on, inshallah, then to. Oh, no, I wasn't even looking at how many are with me. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Just put it in the chat. Let me see your names. Let me see what you're doing, because we are this is interactive, by the way. I'm not just going to lecture you. Yeah, we're going to very soon. The next thing, we're going to get into the real deal. So I want to see you in the chat. I want to see you interacting, and I want to see you planning this together. And just to answer your question, Ahmed, that you just put now. So Ahmed said, can you tell me your own experience when I was in uni and how I dealt with it? Unfortunately, I don't have what's the word? Anything, useful to share with you, because from my memory, when I was in a university, like the last time I was studying, Ramadan was in summer holiday, right? So the last time Ramadan was in school time, I was in school, and that was like a long time ago. So I don't have much for you there, but if you're in uni and you've got exams, it means you're kind of in control of your schedule, which is all you need, I think, right? And I'll tell you a little schedule you can use when we get to the actual planning. Okay, and actually it's the next thing, right? So I'll give you an example of what you can do in terms of time-wise. Okay, so the next step, and this is where you get your notebooks out, you get your notepad, whatever it is out, and you actually have to start writing stuff down. And it's just scribbling things. It's casual, right? But you want to get this down. Okay, so can you guys see that? Okay, is it clear? I guess it should be quite clear. Maybe I'll put myself down there so this gets bigger. Yeah, there you go. Okay, so know your time slots. Okay, so this is what we do first in the system, which is you ask yourself, okay, when do I sleep? Okay, and we, obviously, when must you sleep according to stuff like work and uni and these things? When must you sleep? When must you get up? Okay, so write those kind of things down, right? So for me, I don't really have a certain time when I have to sleep, alhamdulillah, because I just run my business. But if you have work and stuff like that, then you might say, okay, work is at 8, I've got to get up at like 7 latest, so therefore I need to sleep at like midnight latest, something like that. Okay, so just get these ideas down. It's all casual, it's all good, right? When do you work, right? So write that down as well. So you might say, I'm just going to do it an example, right? Sleep, so I need to sleep like 12 till 7 a.m. and then my work is 8 till 5, let's say, p.m. Okay, and when are you free? So therefore, I'm free after 5. Let's say I get home at 6 p.m. I'm free after 6 p.m. and then I'm definitely free. So after 6 p.m., then I'm gonna like break fast at, let's say, 8 p.m. I think it is in the UK anyway. By the way, I'm here with you from Istanbul. Okay, last year different location, this year different location, next year who knows. But I do think that in the UK, Maghrib is at 8 p.m. So 8 p.m. you're going to break your fast, you're going to eat, you're going to take it easy a little bit maybe. You got your Isha coming in quite quickly, I believe, and then maybe you pray your Tarawih. So let's say you finish your Tarawih by, let's say 10:30 maybe, I'm not sure, but let's say 10:30 p.m. finish Tarawih. So therefore we've got free from 30 till 12. Okay, so we have identified this block here and this block here, like 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. Okay, so we got a couple hours there and a couple hours there. We got 4 hours here for our tarawih. Okay, sorry, for our ibadah. Okay, we're looking to identify times when we can do our ibadah. Okay, so that's what you need to do now, and you got to think of like, when are you free, when can you make time, because it's not just about being free, it's about making time for your ibadah. Okay, where you wouldn't usually do this kind of thing, but it's Ramadan, so you're doing things a little bit different, right? And then when do you have different energy levels, right? And this is a very interesting one, because after eating your suhoor, okay, or sahri, okay, as people call it, after eating that, you'll find, okay, as long as you've slept a little bit, you've had your suhoor, that time you actually have good energy levels, right? Especially, myself, I've had a coffee at that time. I'm probably at the peak at that point of energy. I've slept, I've eaten, I've had coffee. Okay, I don't know if you can hear my son in the background. He's not crying, he's giggling or something. When do you have different energy levels? And let's identify those areas, right? So I've given you an example on the screen here. Okay, Yasmin, I have no plans for Ramadan, but this is something that will inspire me and motivate. Okay, so you're going to plan now, though, Yasmin, with us, right? And then Ahmed says, how many hours of sleep do you believe we need? Because I'm thinking about my energy level. Yeah, I think, you got to think of what you're used to, but I would say 7 hours is fine. 7 to I mean, look, the researchers, okay, they say 7 to 9. Okay, so for Ramadan, at the maximum, we should be going for 7, because we want to make use of as much time as possible. So 7 hours should be fine, right? Now, Ahmed, let me share with you my. Everyone should be doing this, by the way, identifying the different time slots where you could put your ibadah. Okay, but what I'm going to show you now, Ahmed, is my kind of schedule, which I think you'll be able to copy because you're in uni, right? So you're kind of free. So what I do is, I sleep from 10:30 till about 4 a.m. Okay, then I'm just going to remove this, okay, just to give us space. Then I will also sleep from when do I sleep? 9:30, okay, a.m. till about, let's just say 12:30 to make it simple. Okay, so I get 3 hours here. And here, what is this? It's, oh, that's a lot of sleep actually here, right? So that's 5.5 hours. Okay, 5.5 hours. Okay, that's 8.5 hours, right? So, obviously, if I get to bed at 10:30, but I actually sleep at 11, that'll be 5 hours. But this is 8 hours of sleep. Okay. Now, look, I'll tell you the secret. This is what I would do if I was a student now. I would do this. Okay. 4 to 5 a.m. is maybe a bit of qiyam, okay, if there's time, okay, bit of prayer, a little bit, if there's time, okay. I would have suhoor, okay, however you want to spell that. I would have suhoor. Then 5 a.m. till 6, okay, is worship, time for worship. Then 6 till 9:30 when I sleep is study, okay. You could do it from 5, okay, so you could get an extra hour. So 6 till 9:30, that's 3.5 hours, but you could start this at 6 a.m. Sorry. Yeah, you could start this at 5 a.m., sorry, and that would give you 4.5 hours. Okay. And that's when I would do like the bulk of my study. You've just had your food, you've slept, inshallah, and now you can study, right? You can focus fully. Okay. You should not feel any problems because you've just eaten. Okay. You've slept and eaten. It's like a normal day. In fact, I find myself more productive in Ramadan sometimes because of that time. It's the early hours, there's barakah in the early hours. I've just slept, I've just eaten, I've got coffee in my veins, and I'm good, right? So I actually find that I do enough work for a whole day in those 4 hours, right? So that's like my kind of thing. You get that, Ahmed, yeah? And then Lala says, Ahmed Shigeri, who, he's a TV presenter. He made some really good TV shows. He said that from his research, he doesn't know of any successful person who slept more than 5 hours, obviously. So, well, not obvious, but I think that the point about sleeping and how many hours you need is that it's about breaking it into at least 2 slots. So you might be sleeping 6 hours, but if it's broken into, for example, 4.5 hours and then an hour and a half, that might be plenty and enough compared to all in one block, right? There's something special about that, okay, of breaking into 2 slots. So Ahmed, if any of you are like Ahmed or like myself, where you have kind of a flexible schedule, you don't have to be at work at any given time, any specific time, then definitely try this out, okay? Think of that time after suhoor as the time you could do all your work, all your study, all your revision. Okay, you're going to be really switched on brain wise. Then what I find is when I sleep, so you can see there I've written I sleep from 9:30 a.m. till 12:30 p.m. right? It's another 3 hours. When I wake up there for 12:30, okay, it's dhuhr time, pray dhuhr, I've got good energy. Again, I just slept. Okay? I might be a little hungry at that time, but I'll have good energy. I'll have good focus for another couple hours at least. Okay, so I find it's kind of a bit of a revolutionary time in terms of Ramadan to actually get a lot done, right? You're getting your ibadah in and you're getting your study or your work or your revision or whatever in, okay? And Ahmed Khan, I would also look into like some of these study or revision strategies or methods that are more efficient than others, okay? Like look into like spaced repetition, for example, yeah? So that's just an extra thing for you. Okay, let's move on, right? I'm assuming everyone, you've identified your time slots, right? Where you could potentially do something. You could do some ibadah, okay? Some worship. Now, we go on to know your deeds, okay? So I haven't filled this in. We're going to fill this in together. But now it's identifying, doing a brainstorm, right? We're not committing to any of this. We're doing a brainstorm of what deeds you're going to do. So it could be read. So I've got categories here because I do think that we should do a minimum of not all of these, but certain of these. Okay. So we could read Quran cover to cover, right, in Ramadan. We could also read tafsir. We could read translation. We could practice tajweed. Okay, although I don't feel like tajweed is something to do in Ramadan. I feel like Ramadan is more about purely not the connection types of things. To do the connection things, not the technical things. However, having said that, the first time I ever studied tajweed was, and the only time really I've properly studied tajweed was in Ramadan. And my tajweed was not good in terms of, I never studied it. I don't know the rules at all. I just know the rules from hearing, right? And in one Ramadan, I learned all the essential rules. And since then, I know it, like, right? So I did that in Ramadan, not going to lie. So that's the type of thing, maybe you could do. But if your tajweed's okay, then I would focus on these other ones I've written, okay, when it comes to Quran. Okay, then study. When it comes to study, I'm talking about obviously study of the deen of Allah, right? So is this going to be, okay, no, it's fine. So we could do study seerah, right? This could be tafsir as well. We could include tafsir in there, meaning, the explanation of the Quran. Seerah. What else could we study? We could do some aqidah, right? So it could be like names of Allah kind of thing. Names of Allah, what do they mean? How do they manifest in our lives, right? whatever course or series you're aware of, right? You could do 40 hadith of Nawawi, right? Go through an explanation of those amazing hadith that summarize the principles and the values of Islam. Okay, so that's study. Let me just check in with you in the chat. Okay, wa alaikum salam wa barakatuh. From Ghazawat, salam alaikum. Ruqya, I tried to break my sleep between two slots, but I couldn't get to sleep, and that ruined my whole schedule. Well, I mean, getting to sleep, it's I just actually read a book about sleep not long ago, and you have to build up enough sleep debt, as they say. So that's something to check. I mean, is the gap between the two sleeps enough? It should be at least 5 hours, I think they say. So that's something to look into. Then it's about, the lights and these kind of things. Then it's about what you've eaten, stimulants, stuff like that. And also it might be just a matter of sticking to it. Okay. So sometimes you need to get a bit exhausted for you to be able to start sleeping early, right? But the way that you start a new routine is actually the getting up early part. Okay. So in the example that I put here on screen, okay? So in this example, right, if I wanted to establish this routine, I would, no matter when I slept, I would start waking up at this time, okay? Now, what if you slept at 1 a.m. and you woke up at this time, right? Eventually, you're going to feel very tired, but you just got to keep it together for that day. And then when 10:30 comes, you're going to be really tired. And then you can start the cycle. And I feel like you just have to force it for like a week or so, and you should build up that routine. Sleep does take a while to build up. I don't know exactly how long, but I wouldn't be surprised if really for your body to really get into the swing of it, it would require weeks. Okay. However, I feel like it's possible in Ramadan with the barakah of Ramadan, and ask Allah to help you with your sleep, to set an amazing sleep pattern so you can get the most ibadah done, and trust in Allah that He'll answer that dua. I think you can do it in a matter of a few days. So just push yourself through it and make sure that the sleep you are planning on having at least is enough as well. So make sure there's at least 6 hours, for example, in there, depending on what you're used to. Okay. So let me go back to this and just check some of the slides here. So what do you eat for suhoor that you feel is beneficial, gives you energy? I'll answer that in a bit, inshallah. Okay. Let's go back here, right? Let's look at, and by the way, in the chat, I want your suggestions for what we could do for acts of worship. Okay. So give, this is one I like, give X% of money, right? All the money you have, push yourself to give a certain percentage of it away. Okay. Now, I'm not saying how much, but depending on how comfortable you are financially, it could be 2%, it could be 5%, it could be 10 or even 20%. Okay. And really, reach for a number that is uncomfortable for you. Obviously, you're paying your zakah. Okay. A lot of people pay their zakah in Ramadan. Charity. It could also be, like paying zakah at home and family abroad, right? That's an interesting one because, sometimes we might think of giving our zakat to charities, but what about people we personally know who are eligible for it? That's interesting. So that's charity, maybe a bit of a simple one, but actually another one always for charity is last 10 days plan, right? So if you're giving 10% of your charity, of your 10% of your wealth away in Ramadan, then you might want to give, 7.5% of that away just in the last 10 days, right? And in the first 20 days, you're giving away 2.5%, right? So you're going slow and then you ramp it up in the last 10 days, right? So that's a charity. Prayer. Okay, we have our Taraweeh. We have extra, at night, okay, night prayer. Then we have Sunnah after Fard. Okay, you guys know what I mean, I think, right? Let me just check in the chat, anything? Yes, Habib ar-Rahman. What about if you're working? So if you're working, I mean, you need to be clear on your times, right? So For example, where was it? We did the times. Yes, you need to be clear. Okay, when do you sleep? When do you work? And then therefore, when are you free? Okay, and you might need you need to identify that. So you might have some time between Taraweeh and when you sleep, for example. That's one for people who work. That could be a time. And then you have after work. Okay, so for example, if I was working, what I would definitely try. Okay, I'm not saying that I have experience in this, but I would definitely try this. Okay, would be I'll come back from work and I would take a nap at that time. Okay, not a huge one, but I would take a nap at that time, and then I would try and do some ibadah. Okay, whether it's something more passive like listening to Sirah, the Sirah series, or reading the Sirah, or reading some tafsir, reading some Quran. I would do that then. So I think people who work like 9 to 5, they have generally those two slots. At work till Maghrib, like the end of work till Maghrib, and then they have the Isha till when they sleep. And they just, it's a bit harder for them, but they just have to really try and get into it really. Get the most out of those lesser hours, right? And maybe try and take some time off work, or really have maybe you could. It's difficult, but you try and implement some level of this routine that you can see on screen. Try and implement that on the weekend, for example, right? Waking up at 4 or 5 a.m. whenever your suhoor is, and then staying up for quite a while, okay? Because like I said, that's when you've had a lot of food in you and sleep and stuff, right? So let me go back to where we were, okay? So if you can also, give me some ideas, then that would be great. Volunteering family, helping cook, helping clean up. I mean, this is if you're not the primary person doing it. If you visit your parents, for example, a few days a week or something, you might want to help them out, right? Hand out food, like soup kitchen kind of style. Depending where you are in the world, that might be an option. And just general volunteering, right? I don't know what specific volunteering is available in your area, okay? And then dua, we can have make dua list and use it daily, right? And increase dua in sujood, okay? So this dua list, you could use it in sujood. Is there any other ideas, that you have that I haven't shared here? Let's see. Ahmed says, I'm broke myself, so I don't know how I can open my heart. It's not, this is a good point, and it's something that, I think most people would agree with you, but, being broke is relative. You've got to understand that if you're on this live stream, it depends, where you are in the world and everything like that, but you're probably, it's likely you're in maybe the top 10, top 15% most comfortable people in the world. I was going to say wealthy, but at least the top 10% most comfortable people in the world. So it's about pushing yourself, because Allah will ask us all about the blessings we have and that He gave us, and we just have to be able to justify it, right? And maybe you've only got £100 in your bank account. Well, 10% of that, you could say, look, £100 is so little for all the wealth I have, right? All the wealth I have is £100. £100 is so little that giving 10% of that away won't hurt me, but it could benefit someone else massively. Okay, if you have £1,000, again, £1,000, 10%. It depends on your situation, but you just want to find a percentage that push yourself to give that, right? And just keep remembering that £20 for you, because you don't have money coming in, it might feel like a lot, but for other people, like £20, like maybe they can live for a month with £20. Okay, so keep that in mind. And I think Surah Al-Balad, I'm not going to quote it to you now because I'm not 100% sure about the tafsir, but one of the things is, like, for example, Allah says, I think it's Surah Al-Baqarah, لا تنالوا البر حتى تنفقوا مما تحبون. You won't attain goodness or be good until you give what you love. Okay, so if you got £10 million and you give £1,000 away, that's very different to giving £1,000 away when you've got £10,000, right, or £5,000. So keep that in mind. That's all I'm going to say. Okay, so again, you want to pick some of these things that they appeal to you, that you feel like they're important, and obviously the Quran is what I'm gonna push you towards, like, heavily. Okay, I don't know if my sound is peaking a bit, so let me turn that down. Let me just do this for now. All right, I'm coming. There we go. Yes, you want to have a focus on Quran for sure. Okay, so like you want to be reading some level of Quran, you want to be, and then you might want to do one other thing with Quran. The others, I would say, most of them, they're all kind of optional. Okay, but one thing that you must do, if you can only pick like 1, 2 ibadat, I would definitely have 1, 2 of them to be to do with the Quran. Okay, because Allah says, "Shahru Ramadan alladhi unzila fihi al-Quran," that the Quran was revealed in Ramadan. Ramadan is the month that Allah revealed the Quran in. Right, it's important that we read, and every letter we read, we get 10 rewards for that. So very, high potential here, and it was revealed in this month. Let's like get the rewards of reading it, but also let's remember that it was revealed and start to be revealed in this month. So that's when it comes to what you pick, right, in terms of the thing. I just wanted to make that clear. So let me share this again. Charity recommendation. That's a good question, Ahmed. Charity recommendation. One charity that I always used to mention is One Solid Ummah. Okay. Now let me look them up because I know they kind of changed their name a little bit. One Solid Ummah. If you Google them, I watched the kind of the story of One Solid Ummah. Yes, now they're registered as a Turkish charity. So they have a different name. Okay, I'll just put it. I don't know if it will go in the chat. Right. And yeah, I've got a charity list that I usually publish for the last 10 days of Ramadan. I publish a spreadsheet with all the links to donate easily, right? And I would have done my level of due diligence with those charities. I might put 10 or 20 charities there, and some of them will be super like on the ground. I know for sure this, if I give £100, £100 is going to the thing and it's all clean. And then some will be a bit less than that, but still, we don't, it's only the ones we know for sure that are dodgy. We don't want to give anything to that, okay? Or the ones that waste money. But inshallah, I will publish a spreadsheet for you on that. But I just put in the comments, ihcro.org, okay? That's a good one, okay? So yeah, look, we've got our list, right? And you want to pick a few of these. Now, if I just think of mine, okay, because I'm doing this with you, right? I need to kind of finalize mine with you today, okay? So I'm going to do it, and I want to see yours in the chat, right? I'm going to, say those are too many, those are too little, kind of thing. Just and give your ideas as well in the chat as well, okay? So what I'm going to do is this. Okay, I'm going to do that, inshallah. Study, yes. Okay. Make sure you're doing it as well, yeah? What else could we do? Okay. Okay. Because, I already had a good idea. I'm kind of prepared. I'm kind of done now. Okay. So let me go and see. Oh, no. No one put theirs in the chat. We're not going forward until someone puts in the chat. I want to see your ideas, what you're thinking. Yasmin says, agree to have a structured plan to stick to helps a lot. Sleep is key. Yes. Ahmed, so you mentioned reading Quran is one thing out of all of them. What if I can't read? Is it okay to listen to it? Would that be fine? I mean, what level can you not read, Ahmed? Like, can you just not read well? Or you kind of know the letters, but you're just like very slow and you don't know if you're saying it properly? If that's the case, what I just said, then yeah, listen to it and read along with your finger, like move your finger along with what you're hearing. If you can't even do that, you can't even read that level, then obviously it should be a wake-up call for you to really try and learn that. You know, maybe after your exams are over, you can really invest in learning to read Arabic, because this is the Quran. This is the book that Allah gave you to guide you to Jannah. And then you say, oh, I can't read it. So, you know, keep that in mind. Listening to it, of course, is good. Of course is good. Of course is good. And you want some connection to it. So you could, for example, just listen to it. If you can't read, yeah, you listen to it, and then you might read a translation, or you might listen to an explanation, a video of someone, you know, like Nouman Ali Khan explaining it alongside. So Sarah says, my goals are read a juz a day. Okay, 4 pages, I think, after each prayer. Make dua minutes before Maghrib. As long as you have time, then you got to make sure you have time. Then listen to the seerah every day after Dhuhr and learn Quran before Fajr. What do you mean by learn Quran? You mean memorize? Just need to be specific with that. I'm sure you know, but just for everyone to understand, we need to be specific when we're doing this, right? So since Sarah saved everyone by sharing her goals, then we can move on, inshallah. Okay. And Ahmed, I hope I answered your question okay, right? Next, we move on to know your habits. So this is the bit where, you know, I think a lot of people who are on the stream now, they're going to know what we're talking about here. And that is to set up your habits in a way where there's no excuse, there's nowhere to run away. It's very, very clear. And, you know, it's for the lazy people out there, right? Because if I say study seerah, okay, the problem with that is, firstly, what seerah am I studying, right? Which means I'll put it off, procrastinate. Before you know it, it's day 7 of Ramadan, you've done no seerah, okay? The second reason is that you can't just do it on a whim when you feel like it. You need to have a time that you have appointed to doing this. And that's where we go back here to the time slots, okay? We've identified the time slots we're free. Now we need to slot the acts of worship into those time slots, okay? And you will pick the time slot according to the energy levels as well. That's why I told you to identify the energy levels different times. So for example, if I was working, you know, 9 to 5, right? When I come home from work, I need to take a nap then before I can actually do some ibadah. But after that nap, should have decent, not amazing, decent energy levels. But then after Isha, so as long as I haven't had a really heavy iftar, okay, don't have heavy iftar, then I should be able to do quite a bit of ibadah at that time. After Isha, you know, pray my Taraweeh, read some Quran, this and that, because I've just eaten. So I should have some energy from that, okay? So energy level is something to take into account. So look how we do, right? It's a formula, okay? We need to turn all of those things. So let's take the example of Sarah. So Sarah, if I just put this on the screen for everyone to see. So read a juz a day, make dua, listen to seerah, and learn, memorize Quran. Okay, 4 habits. So you need to write 4 of these sentences, okay? So let me do one for you, right? So what did you say? I've done one for you, actually. That's the example, read a although you would change the timings, okay? And by the way, for everyone, you know, other than Sarah, then for me, I just would not recommend doing this whole 4 pages after Salah. And that's because the hardest part of any action is starting it. And when we say, I'm going to read 4 pages after every Salah, the amount of times we need to start in a day is 5 times. Now, what if you read it all in one go? You start one time. So you've only got one hard thing, okay? If the hardest thing is to start, you've got to start once. Personally, I think the easiest is to split your Quran reading into 2 times. 1 is good. I think I'm going to do 1 this year. Last year, I did 2. I think I'm going to do 1 this year, right? So that's just something. If it works for you, do it. The after salah thing, but I found that it's probably not the best. Okay, just from a principle point of view of starting again, and that the energy required to start 5 times. Ibrahim says, I really want to know more about the Prophet ﷺ this Ramadan. I have okay, yes, I mean, okay, great. So that's therefore you know what to do, Ibrahim. You want to, what do you want to do? You want to do Sirah this Ramadan. You know, you could read The Sealed Nectar, and there are other Sirah books. Oh, what's the one? I know people, the one I've got in my head is one by Martin Lings, okay? Now, I think Martin Lings is not a Muslim, so I don't know if that's going to be the best one. But you could also do an audio series or a video series. Those are going to be good. Depends if you're a reading type and what kind of access you have. Obviously, in Arabic, you can have a lot of good. I mean, Sealed Nectar in Arabic would probably be good. The sealed Nectar in English is translated, so it's not going to be the best reading experience, but it will definitely give you the, good stuff. So that's really good, Ibrahim. Then Ibrahim said, I have a habit of staying in bed when I wake up and going on my phone. Well, maybe we should get into a coaching conversation to help with those kind of things. But the way to deal with that is don't sleep with your phone in your room. When you go to bed, put your phone either on the other side of the room or out of the room. Put it somewhere else. And then you have to get up to get your phone. And then, of course, you don't go back to bed once you've got your phone. If you have the excuse of, oh, but my phone is my alarm, then either put it on the other side of the room with the alarm or get an alarm. It's worth, for what you're going to get out of getting up early and not wasting your time on your phone, it's worth the £10 or dollars or £20 to get an alarm clock. That's worth it, Great. Ahmed, you shared your habits. Jazakallah khairan. Let's check them out. At least pray the night prayer and morning prayer, since those are key. Listen Quran, since I can't read. Okay. And go through your channel to get more inspired. Donate some money. Yeah. Ahmed, I appreciate what you said to the third one, but I would not watch my channel in Ramadan. I feel like there's much more useful ones out there. Maybe you just don't know what's out there. So maybe you could do a little session where you just explore. But, if you're going to watch some videos on a casual one, then I would do something more like tafsir or explanation of a surah of the Quran. For example, Surah Al-Fatiha that we use in every prayer. You might want to do that. You might want to check out the explanation of that. Like that might be, it could, depending on the detail they go into, it could be a few hours of video, just that. Okay. So, yeah, my channel's not the best, I would say, for this, but Jazakallah khairan, appreciate that. And when you say pray the night prayer and morning prayer, you mean just pray those? Because, this really, Ahmed, I don't know what you mean, but for anyone who's not praying certain prayers at all, this is the time to do it. This is, Allah has given you everything you have. Allah created you. He gave you parents. He gave you the ability to live until this age. He gave you the technology to come on this live stream. He gave you the free time and free energy to come on this live stream. He gave you whatever. I don't know what your life is like. I'm talking to everyone now. But he gave you everything. And Allah, remember, Allah created you. He controls everything. He could do what he wants. He could create you and not put you on earth and not give you a chance to go to paradise. He could put you in the hellfire for no specific reason. He could put you there. Why and he wouldn't be wrong to do that. Why? Because he controls you. You're his slave. He can do what he wants. He made you. Okay, but he didn't do that. He didn't put you in the hellfire. He put you in this earth. He gave you the blessings that you can think about what you have, right? And he gave you a shortcut, an easy way to get to eternal bliss. And he motivated you to get to that eternal bliss by creating the hellfire to push you towards the eternal bliss. And he gave you amazing messengers. And he gave you the Prophet ﷺ to guide, to give you the amazing example. And he gave you a book of guidance. A book of guidance that is easy to understand, okay, and to translate and to read. And then after all that, we don't pray. No, we must pray, right? So if anyone on this live stream is not praying right now, then definitely that should be your number one objective this Ramadan, is purely to okay, bit of a connection mess up. This Ramadan, come on. The objective this Ramadan should be purely to start praying, okay? Oh, 5 prayers, that is, okay? But Jazakallah khairan, Ahmed, that's really good goals. Now, Farah, yes, Khan says, I have A-level exams during Ramadan. However, I still want to try and increase my Quran and read Tahajjud. I mean, look, let me ask you something. Let me just turn the camera off and put it again. That might fix it. So be it. All right. Yes, Ahmed, don't try. Do it, inshallah. Yeah, do it. And let me know if you need any help. Farah, yes. You know, where do you think success in A levels comes from? You know, it comes from Allah. You know, Allah's going to give you the success. So, you know, let's not try and have a either or, you know, and I'm not saying you're thinking that way, but just for others, maybe don't think, okay, if I fully study, then I'm just going to leave the extra worship. I'm going to fast, but, you know, I won't do anything else. Or, you know, or if I worship a lot, then I'm going to fail my exams. No, succeeding in your exams will come from ibadah, won't it? It will come from being closer to Allah and asking from Allah, right? So that's something to think about, of course, in terms of how much you limit yourself. But in terms of your exams, I don't know if you're on the stream, Farah, when I was talking to Ahmed about this, but let me share my screen and see if I can show you the time. Because if you're studying, now let me do this. If you're studying, then you can probably follow this sleeping pattern, which I strongly recommend. So sleep at 10:30 p.m. till 4 a.m. Okay, this is kind of flexible based on where you are in the world and all of that. Okay, sleep at 10:30 p.m. till 4 a.m. and then wake up, have your suhoor, and then from 5 or 6, depending on how much revision you really have to do, from 5 or 6 till 9:30 a.m. you study. That's when you revise, and you're going to have energy because you've just woken up, you've eaten your suhoor, you know, have a little coffee, okay, if that's something you do, and then you've got full energy and focus to revise at that point. Okay, then after you revised, you're going to sleep, and when you know, they all these sleep researchers, they say when you sleep, that's when the information you've just acquired, it gets rewired into the more long-term memory. So this seems like a, you know, strong sleep routine for you, inshallah. Right. And what you could do is, you could do your worship here, you could do your one hour even of worship, Quran, and you still got 3.5 hours to study. Then when you wake up at 12:30 p.m., okay, after having a sleep, you can study further for another maybe 2 hours. Okay. And again, like what I said to Ahmed was, make sure you're studying in an efficient way, okay? Don't just like read notes or rewrite notes or create mind maps, right? There are proven efficient ways to study, like spaced repetition, etc., etc. I'm not an expert on them, but I would definitely, if I was a student now, I'd be all over that kind of stuff, okay? Spaced repetition and all that. Okay, so to keep that in mind, Farah, yeah? Let's go back to this. Okay, now Ahmed, Farah, Yasmin, all of you, you need to relate it in this format. Okay, I do this, I do whatever it is at this time for this amount. Okay, let me take one of your examples. So let's take Yasmin did a few, right? So donate money. Okay. No offense, but terrible way to word it. Okay, maybe you weren't, this is not the final one. I'm just playing with you, right? But donate money, okay? How do we turn that into a proper habit, okay? We do this, okay? I give $20 each day after Isha, 2, and then you need to say your charities, right? That's why I have the charity spreadsheet, because then I don't have to look for who to give to. I've pre-done the work in advance, because we don't want to spend precious time, especially in the last 10 days of Ramadan, looking for charities. We want to have it ready. Okay, so that spreadsheet, I will have it ready, inshallah, for the last 10 days of Ramadan this year. Okay, so that's how I would reword the just donate habit. I would reword it like this: like, I give a specific amount, $20, whatever, each day after Isha to whatever charity it is. Okay. You get that, Yasmin? Yeah, I need you to kind of do yours in the format, following the format that's on the screen. So I'm just looking at your others. So read 5 pages of Quran daily. So just make sure it's like what I've put on screen. So read Quran daily after Fajr, for example, like put a specific time to it. 20 pages, you said 5 pages. Yeah, so when are you going to do that? And are you going to do cover to cover? Just be so specific about this so that it's all clear when you come to do it. Now, you've said donate money. We dealt with that. Pray 5 times. That's good. Listen to Quran. So what recording of Quran are you going to listen to? When are you going to listen to it? What surah are you going to listen to? And for how long are you going to listen to it? All these details is what makes doing the habit easier, so that you actually do it. And, like I said at the beginning, I've been doing this for like 7 years now. So I know that this is the reason people do or don't do things. Okay. It's because they've made it hard. Like they've had to think about it. And we don't want to have to think. We want to just have it there laid out. Okay. So everyone on the stream now, this is what we're doing. We're taking the habits that we listed down. We kind of made a short list, a brainstorm of the ibadah, of the worship, acts of worship. And we are turning them into these proper habits. It's not a proper habit unless it's like this. Okay. Let me just turn myself down a bit. Yeah. So it has to be worded in the way that you can see on screen. Okay. So actually, let me like do mine, right? So, yeah, like I've got one written here. It's not clear when I'm going to do it. Yeah. Okay. Do this after Fajr. Do that. Okay. Yeah. When am I going to do this? Maybe. Okay. So I'm just making sure that I've got all 3 things in the habit. What do you do? What time is it? And what amount? Or, and what is it? Like, what's the resource for it? What recording? What series? What book? Okay. Farah says, how do you recommend scheduling sleep if you have to attend school still? Wayaki Farah. Yeah, thanks for being on the stream. So it depends, obviously, what time you have to attend school. But if you are like the 9 to 5 example that I gave, then you would sleep. Let me see. I mean, look, yeah, you want to be close to my example as possible, whatever you can fit in. So, for example, let's make a copy of this for someone who had to go to work, right? I mean, look, you can do that. You got 500. What you can't do is this, okay? This 3 hours. So what if it depends where you are in the world, Farah, and it depends when you have to be at work, right? But let's say you woke up at 4 a.m. Maybe you could do like 5 to 6 a.m. You are doing some sort of worship, and then you have to leave for work at 7. So then 6 to 6:37, you could nap then, right? So like if you could do this, that's 5.5 hours. and then try and find another, like try and find 1.5 hours somewhere. It could, of sleep, that is. Yeah, when you get back from work, potentially, right? And look, when you've slept 5.5 hours the first day, the first few days, and then you go to work, it's gonna be tired. You're gonna be tired, right? But then you're gonna come home from work, and if you do your 1.5 hours nap, then when you come home from work, the next day, and then the day after that, and the day after that is gonna be easier and easier, because 5.5 plus 1.5, that's 7 hours sleep. That should be fine. You're in the UK and you have school 9 till 3. Oh, you're fine then. You're fine. You could just have a big nap at 3. No? You could have a big nap at 3, like 3 hours. So you're sleeping at night like 5 hours. And then in the day, at 3, when you get home, you're sleeping 3 hours, let's say, 3 till 6. Then you're waking up at 6, you're feeling fresh, and you could even do some more revision or more worship at that time. But that's really good. I just remembered you said you're doing A levels. So if I was on these kind of live streams when I was doing A levels, I'd be much better off now. MashaAllah. Very good. Good to have you here, Farah, planning your Ramadan and everything with your A levels. Ahmed, good question. Does dua have to be in a specific way or structure? Because sometimes my mind goes blank. Other than my wish, do I need to say anything else? There is the etiquette. That's what people call it. Let me see if I type it here. The etiquette of dua. If you search that on YouTube, you should find some sort of video explaining how to make dua the proper way. And that usually would include something like, it's basically following the formula of the prophets. So what they do, the scholars do, they'll look at the Quran, and there are so many du'as in the Quran of what the prophets said. Let me just get rid of this for now. Of what the prophets said. So for example, they start their dua with Rabbana. Okay, so then they'll say, okay, we found from all these different du'as in the Quran that the prophets, and they're the best people at making dua, the best people to learn from. Out of all these people, out of all these du'as, we found that most of the time they started it with Rabbana, our Lord. Okay, so you should start your dua with Rabbana. And then, for example, we say, Yunus alayhi salam, he said, Inni zalamtu nafsi. No, Subhanak, inni kuntu min al-zalimin. Right? So you find also another trend between the prophets is that when they make dua, they acknowledge their faults and their weakness. Right? So you could say, oh Allah, you're my Lord. You're so powerful and I'm so weak. I'm in absolute need of you. Without you, I can do nothing. So help me with my exams, for example. Right? So you humble yourself and you praise Allah. Right, and you call upon Allah with His names that He mentions in the Quran, and you just you bring it from the heart, that's the basics. But you can check out the etiquette of dua. Okay, Ahmed, you said, what's one thing you always include in your dua? I guess a lot of the dua that I make is just copying from the Quran. So, for example, the dua. Like, for example, Allahumma, but it's from the Quran, right? So it's in Arabic. Allahumma atina fid dunya hasana wa fil akhirati hasana wa qina adhaban nar. Yeah. Allah, give us the best in the dunya, in this life, and the best in the next life, and save us from the punishment of the fire. That's one from the Quran. Also, there's one that I just say automatically, and then when I'm on the stream, I'm forgetting it. Yes, and what you're saying, Ahmed, and I'll put it on the screen as well. So acknowledge my weakness, humble myself, praise Allah, and bring it from the heart. Yes, okay. Also, though, if your mind goes blank, it means you might need to just spend 10 minutes writing down things. And I'm not saying to memorize that list or to read from the list, but I'm saying write it down. And then the next day after you've written that down, you're going to remember, right? And you should make dua for other people as well. Because when you make dua for other people, then the angels say to Allah, oh Allah, give that to him as well. So if you ask for the poor people of the world to have their patience strengthened, then the angels will say, oh Allah, make his patience strong as well, right? So make dua for other people, for your parents especially. And that's another thing we get from the Quran is the prophets, they make dua for their parents in the Quran. So you want to copy those things, Yasmin says, try to cry from the heart when you pray. It's okay to cry or be emotional. Yeah, it's very good. In fact, in the Quran, we find that Allah praises people who cry out of humility to him. Okay, so let me just I can look in the Quran. Oh no, I'll lose my spot. But I just remembered one ayah, which is not really to do with crying when you're making dua, but there's an ayah which is the people, Allah's praising the people who were crying because they couldn't find anything to give in charity. Okay? They wanted so much to give in charity, but they're so poor that they have nothing that they're crying. So that's something that goes back to the charity thing as well. Thank you for that, Yasmin. So look, everyone, we're pretty much done here. It's this is the bit. This is the bit here that I am sharing on screen. It's about having these. Have 3, 4, 5 of these for your Ramadan and you're good. Then you can go home, no homework, right? No detention. Okay? If you've got these 5 of these or whatever, how many habits you want to do. I usually recommend, if it's your first time really planning and preparing for your Ramadan, I would probably say do 3, just start with 3 but do all of those 3. Then next year, I'll be here again, inshallah, bi'idhn ar-Rahman. I'll be here again. And then you'll hear me saying, yeah, if it's your first time, do 3. And then you can say, oh, I did 3 last time and I was successful, so I'm going to do 4 this time, right? So that's the idea really with this, take it easy. And but finish it, right? So if you say, look, I'm just going to read 2 pages of Quran every day, then you might say, oh, 2 is low. Everyone around me reads 20 pages a day. But do 2. So first Ramadan, planning it and stuff, do 2 every day. Don't miss a day. And then next year you can increase, or after Ramadan you can increase. And that's what I want to kind of go with now, right? Okay, just before we go there, I just seen Yasmin has brought this. So here's a short example. I give £10 each week after Isha to something, right? You need to say which charity you're going to give it to. And I will read Quran after Fajr for 5 pages for 10 minutes each day. Yes, exactly. That's great. Now let's go back to my lovely slides. Okay, and this is the final bit. Know your Shawwal. Okay, so we're building all this momentum, right? And if I go back to here, we talked about set the new standard for the rest of the year, okay? So what are we doing in Shawwal? Shawwal is the month, of course, after Ramadan. Now, we've got into some level of normality of reading Quran or praying extra or whatever it is. We don't want to go from 100 or 70 or wherever we were to 0. We don't want to do that. We want to go down, yes, because we want it to be sustainable. We want worship habits that are sustainable, but we don't want to go to 0. We want to keep some element. And like I said at the beginning, if you continue good deeds after Ramadan, it's a sign that your Ramadan was accepted. So we want to become one of those people. So what do? We plan for a certain amount of those deeds that we're planning, right? So let's say you're reading Quran 20 pages a day, okay? After Ramadan, you want to say, oh, I'm going to read 5 pages a day, 7 pages a day, 10 pages a day, whatever it is, okay? So I would highlight some of your habits and just highlight them or put a star next to them in order to prepare to move those into your Shawwal, okay? And not the full level of it, but a downgraded level of it, because we want to improve this. We want to continue this for the whole year, okay? And a good one to do, because you're going to be fasting Ramadan anyway, a good one to do is fasting. Fast once a week. After Ramadan finishes, you fast 1 day a week, every single week. That's really good. And just think about it, like it can be difficult. I'll tell you though, you do really get used to it. You just say, look, every Thursday I'm going to fast, right? And after 4 or 5 weeks of doing it, it becomes your routine, right? And you actually start looking forward to the breaking your fast that day. It's just enjoyable, and that's a really good deed because it's difficult. Everyone around you is eating, but you for Allah, you're doing it anyway. Everyone around you is eating. Even the Muslims around you are eating after Ramadan, and you're fasting for Allah. That's why I recommend doing that once a week after Ramadan, fasting. But then you've got your Quran. You've got, of course, your prayers, like your prayers in the masjid or your prayers at home on time. And maybe I'll do another stream near the end of Ramadan for transitioning into Shawwal and making sure we get good thingy for that, good habits in place, and they're all worded in the right way. Ahmed says, does Ramadan have any specific days where your fast is double? I'm thinking to fast those days. No. Look, Ahmed, I know we're kind of in a public setting here, but there might be other people like you here. You must fast, Ahmed. You must fast every day. Allah has written it for us to fast every single day. So if you have issues, right, like you said, with studying, then we can discuss that here, inshallah, on the call. But I'm Ameen, I'm your big brother. And I'm saying, Ahmed, come on, man. Come on, man, fast. Fast us, with us, all of us. Let's all fast, right? Allah commanded us to fast. He didn't say fast for your own good, so you could go to a higher place in paradise. No, he said fast. He said you must fast. And remember the whole thing I said about Allah did all this for you, and then he asks you to do just a few things. And he says, if you do these few things, it's not that I would just save you from punishment. I'll give you good things in this life and after you die. And we can't say no to our master. Allah's the slave owner, right? We're the slave. Allah's the master. A slave doesn't say no to the master. A slave only obeys. That's why we're called slaves. Or like Allah praises, right? The people that have specific characteristics, Ibadur Rahman, the slaves of the most merciful, though. Unlike the slaves in the world, the humans, unlike the masters in the world, the fake masters, the slave owners in the world, unlike them, Allah is Ar-Rahman. He's the most merciful. Not just the most merciful thing, but not the most merciful slave master, if you like, the master. He's the most merciful out of all categories. What a great master to have. What a great master to have. That's why we submit to him. When he says do it, we do it. So really, Ahmed, if you have any issues, with the fasting and how can I do it, or the timing, the sleep, the exams, if you have problems, remember, who's going to give you success in those things you're looking for success in? It's going to be Allah who gives that to you. So how can you say, no, Allah, I'm not going to obey you, but please give me success in this exam? It doesn't make sense, does it? So come on, bro. Inshallah, anyone else in a similar situation, whatever issues you're facing, just try and sort them out. Try and work a way around it. Okay? And, I understand for some people, like their environment is an environment where maybe their own family's not fasting, or maybe people take it very easy. But I'm saying Allah, no doubt, no Muslim will disagree with this. Allah commanded us to fast, and Allah is our master. So we cannot say no to our most merciful, generous master. If anyone has any questions, because we kind of finished, we wrapped it up there, right? So remember the end result of this, hopefully we didn't just spend an hour together here for nothing. The end result of this is that we have a list of very specific habits we're going to do. We know when we're going to do them, how we're going to do them, how much of it we're going to do. And may Allah accept it from all of us. And with that, that's what you're looking for from this stream, inshallah. Now, if you have any questions, I'll be here for, I don't know, 2-3 more minutes, and you can ask me any questions whatsoever. Where can we find the spreadsheet? The spreadsheet is not updated for this year yet. I'll do that later in Ramadan. Usually what I will do, Farah, is I will make a video on this channel taking you through the spreadsheet, and the link will be in the description of that video. That's usually what I do. We have to humble ourselves and submit to our master, and then master our seerah. Yes. To become seerah masters. That's great, Ahmed. That's great. May Allah reward you and give you the best reward, and make it easy for you to do something that's new for you, something you're not used to. And fasting, it's something that Allah said there's no specific reward that He will put to paper. Okay, it's like, you went to the shop and you say, okay, iPhone or whatever, it's £1,000, right? Imagine there was a phone and the shop owner, they didn't put a price. They don't want to they don't want to commit to a price for it. Allah is saying that about fasting. Allah said every letter you read of the Quran, you get 10 rewards. But fasting, Allah wouldn't put a number on it or a specific reward. He said, fasting, that's for me, and I will reward as I see fit. And Allah is so generous. So if Allah will not, Allah doesn't want to put some minimum thing on it. Allah's saying, look, I'll take care of you if you fast. So that's inshallah what you've got in store when you fast, Ahmed and everyone. I'm reminding myself when I'm saying this, actually. Yes, Farah, great to have you here. Hope your exams go well. And even if they don't, you can always redo them. 1 year out of 60 years that you might live. It's not actually such a big deal. But I know A-levels are difficult, so inshallah, it will go very well. And Aisha, Wa'iyaki, yes, alhamdulillah. I hope all I want really for this is that you guys go away with that list of things and you stick to them. That's really what I came here for. Okay, and with that, I'll say subhanakallahumma bihamdik, shadu an la ilaha illa anta, astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Thank you everyone for joining, and may Allah accept from everyone. I'm going to eat in about 25 minutes, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi.